Hello, Playdate. This is Don.
And this is Nick.
And joining us this week. Oh, he knows he knows the spiel. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, this is Dylan, the maker of Art 7, also known as Ledbetter.
Ledbetter from Twitter. And Itch. Yes. Thank you for joining us, Dylan. We do not have Ryan with us this week. Ryan is on October sabbatical. He's on a press tour for his new book. So we will put a Kickstarter link in the show notes, his mirror drawing book. So he's just very, very busy. And Nick has had a very busy weekend. He is exhausted. So he's going to try and stick with us this whole episode. But if that doesn't happen, we have the third pillar of Dylan to hold us up and get us through this episode.
Thanks so much for joining us, Dylan.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate the opportunity to come in, throw a little guest host in.
Yeah, thank you. This was really cool. We put a little call out on Twitter if anybody wanted to join us, and we got a couple of folks said, yeah, we're kind of kicking the tires on coming on the podcast, and you were the first to hop in the boat. So thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. No, happy to be here.
Speaking of Art 7, we have breaking news in the Art 7 universe. Art 7 is a game we have talked about on the... Whoa, was that a beep? No, we don't do beeps and boops and Ryan's not here.
Oh, no. Okay.
No. Leave that out. We talked about Art 7 a few months back when it came out. I guess Dylan can most accurately describe what it is, but it was well reviewed by our staff. Dylan, go ahead. Give us the Art 7 spiel and news.
Yeah, so Art 7 is a 1-bit gallery for the Playdate. I definitely build it as a gallery. It's something that you can take a little character and wander around in. There's a gallery, but there's also grounds to explore. There's a lot of different areas to get to that I'm not going to go into too much spoilers here. But I really developed it. I wanted it to feel like a full environment that you could explore and just enjoy and kind of visit at any time. Now, in that, how do I put this? In that, I dropped a bunch of little game elements like collectibles, and different characters would respond to you in different ways. And there was a couple choices to be made throughout, but the game elements were pretty light. I just wanted there to be some kind of meat in there. I'm going to be doing an update for October that I've talked a little bit about in the past, but it's going to be a much more of a full game experience, a bit more of an adventure game based around a night at the gallery. If it's coming out in October, it's got to be spooky. So I'm in the middle of production right now for that. Really having fun doing a lot of the artwork and everything. And I got to get pretty deep into that later on tonight as well.
Very cool. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I was very surprised that there was more to Art 7 than just the art pocket. And so I'm looking forward to what surprises you have in store in the new update.
Yep.
Yeah, same.
That will be, just to be very clear, that'll be a free update for everybody. So anybody that owns it or picked it up on the big sale we had a few weeks back will be able to just download that.
That's really cool.
What does Art 7 run right now on itch?
Art 7 is $7.
Easy to remember, yeah.
Yep. And I'll look at different pricing models and bundles in the future, but I priced it a little bit on the higher end just because I wanted art to have value. And something I'm going to talk about very shortly in the next day or two here. Because I think art should have value, I also think people that contributed to artwork should have value. So something I've been mulling over how to do and trying to figure out the details of. I do want to announce that there's going to be a revenue share for anybody that's currently in Art 7. And then for future updates, I'm always going to be taking at least 30% of the profits and splitting it among the contributors. Now, there are typically a lot of contributors, so I don't expect anybody to get rich off this, including myself. But I think that's an important step in the process of bringing art to people.
That's really cool. I don't think art is valued very widely anymore in our culture, but it should be. The creativity has value, but so does the time spent. And so I think that's really cool that you're finding a way to add some monetary value to that as well. I was trying to find the episode where we talked about the game, but I am not having much luck.
It was 12, I think. It was right before y'all went to 2 weeks. I remember it very well because I really enjoyed that episode.
Yes, it is. Episode 12, spoiler, a little long with a spoiler review of Art 7. So we do spoil Art 7 in that episode. So play the game first and then check out episode 12. There will be a link in the show notes. Good memory. I know it's on the nose, but thanks for the support there. Okay, so keep an eye out for the Art 7 update and grab a copy ahead of time. Next, I wanted to mention there is a book out since the last time I was on. It's been 6 weeks since I've been on. Nick has been running the ship around here. He's sleeping right now. But Squid God created the Beginner's Guide to Lua for game development, getting started from zero. It is available on itch, $15. Squid God, we've mentioned several times. He cranks out games and YouTube tutorials and just tons and tons of information to support the community, and created a whole book. And so it looks like there's diagrams, there's images, hot links, everything you could want from a Lua coding book, I guess. Programming book. I don't know. I still feel like any coding is over my head, but you guys know what you're doing. And so this seems like if my kids got interested in this, they could maybe this would be a good starting point for them. Does that sound accurate?
Yeah, it seems like it's very much geared to the person that's kind of started toying around with some programming, but really wants to take that next step into maybe they've gone through a bunch of YouTube or Squid God's tutorials on their own, but really being able to harness the power of Lua and the power of what's actually built into the Playdate to make some cool stuff, which is I think what we all want.
And Lua is like one step beyond Pulp, correct?
Yeah,
or
so
maybe many steps beyond it.
Pulp is a drag and drop tile editor to where you can create your own artwork, create your own music, do some very light scripting. So you can do programming and stuff in Pulp, and Art 7 and tons of other games use that to do for like custom functions and things like that. Lua would be making your whole game from scratch. And then you can also use C, which is a much deeper and more powerful language, but you can also use them in conjunction with each other. So it is a different framework. You would use the SDK, the development kit from Panic, to actually write the game and incorporate graphics and the different assets you would for a game, like music and such. You would build the whole game more or less from scratch in Lua with the SDK, or incorporate elements of C programming language as well, which is just a little bit more powerful and extensible. So yeah, it is much more involved than just jumping into Pulp, but it also is much more powerful. There's things you can't do in Pulp that you can certainly do as you get deeper into it. But all that being said, Lua is a very accessible language. Like it's a great midway point from like when I first started development on Art 7 and some other games. I was going to do Lua and get on the SDK and just really dive deep, but Pulp ended up being a great environment to build what I wanted to out of. Now, for other types of games that are maybe more mechanics heavy, I'll definitely need to get more into the SDK, and so will other people, but it's definitely very accessible, and Squid God's work, both on YouTube and this book, should help that out a lot.
Okay, cool. Well, a lot of that probably over my head, but it sounds like I do want to mention it says in the sideline here, I want to stress that this will not teach you how to make a game. It'll give you a foundation for programming. Those are Squid God devs words, but he does mention Roblox is one of the environments you can program. So anyway, I thought it was pretty cool way to support him as well.
Lua is a scripting language and is pretty widely used, especially in other games like Roblox and World of Warcraft and so forth. So, this is pretty neat, and it's cool that it's available on itch. So I guess this is a digital book. Is there a shelvable version of this?
Maybe you could print the PDF or something. I don't know. I don't see a physical version that you can order. It does look like there's a Spanish translation available or coming, but not a physical one yet.
Okay.
Yeah. Nick, can you talk a little bit about Reach the Ocean version 2. Have you played it much?
Yes, I've played it a bunch. So
Did you
Reach
reach
the
the
Ocean.
ocean?
I did not actually. I've still
Oh,
never
what the
reached the
hell?
ocean.
Okay.
Well, I take that back. I have, but I did it in a spoiler-filled way. So anyway, Xenia Lasagna, the developer of Reach the Ocean, just released version 2, which added a tremendous number of new features. This is an incredibly featureful and interesting score chaser, which takes a few unique turns, I feel,
Hmm.
throughout the game. And the version 2 update really doubles down on some of those um, thoughts and ideas from version 1. I am still just totally excited by this game. I pick it up and end up playing 4, 5, 6 runs and trying to best my shell score, which is in the 300s now. So come at me. But
Throw it up on the high score thing, man. I didn't
I
know you're
did.
that high. Oh, you did. Okay, I
Yeah.
missed it.
Thanks for paying attention, Don. Single
I'm
tear
sorry. Oh,
draws down my cheek.
I see
But
you.
at any rate, I did want to mention that Senia Lasagna has produced some merch for Reach the Ocean, some pins as well as stickers, and they're giving these away as part of a contest for the release of version 2.0, and you either need to um, I believe it's reply on Twitter with a particular hashtag, or post in our Discord, the Hello Playdate Podcast Discord, in the Reach the Ocean channel with your high score, and she'll put that together and announce the winner at some point here in the next. It's in the next couple of weeks.
You have
Correct?
until October 31st to submit your score.
Yes. Okay.
Nice. Yeah, one of the things that initially caught my attention by Reach the Ocean was just some of the really cool artwork she put into it. So if that's
Mhm.
translating to some merch, that's fantastic.
Yeah, and the merch is already in hand. So that's pretty exciting. So I last time I believe that we talked, she was still planning on how the merch would be released, but it's coming. So
Yeah,
keep
Zanya's in Canada, so it was a matter of trying to find a way to get it to people. So
Mhm.
I think she's taking a bullet on this first one and then trying to
Oof.
figure out the best
Yeah.
way to get the others out there
Yeah,
as far as shipping.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, keep an eye out, and she's been great. I don't frequent Twitter very much, but she's been great about announcing stuff in our Discord too. So,
Mhm.
and that's pretty much the only place I go on the internet now for news. So about the Playdate. So if she's announcing anywhere else, I'll leave that to Don to let people know.
To cross
But
post.
yeah. Well, did she mention Tiny Yellow Machines Discord as well?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you can find it there too.
So check it out, and definitely let me know what you think of the additions, because I'm very curious what others think. Have you had a chance to play this yet, either of you?
I haven't gotten onto the 2.0 edition. I definitely picked up the original when it first came out, but I haven't revisited it yet, though it sounds like I need to. My big question is the Oraclepus in there?
Yes.
Awesome. I
Yeah.
don't know what that is yet, but I'm excited to find out.
I have not found it in the game.
Okay.
I did find some secrets, and I feel like someday this is going to be like Frog Fractions or something. Like it just keeps going further off the path,
Expanding. Yeah.
which is
I
great.
am even more excited now after that statement.
Yeah, it's getting pretty
It's-
cool.
I didn't think there would be so much left to be added in the version 2.0, but it is really a
Mhm.
version 2.0. It's quite distinct from the initial version. And there's
Yeah.
some accessibility features which she's added as well, which I really appreciate. Um, things like leaving the score tally up on the screen until you press a button, highlighting them in contrasting colors, those kind of things. really make the experience a lot easier for the player.
Awesome.
I still have only found Nick from the quote unquote celebrity turtles. I haven't found anybody else. Maybe there's
They're
just
in
multiple
there.
Nicks in there. There's a lot of Nicks in there.
1,000 nicks.
All the prime
everywhere.
spots. Anyway, check that out. $2 on itch. Well worth it. And link in the show notes. We're going real long on news here. One last quick one. The Helioween bundle. I'll let Dylan say the name of this dev because I can't.
I'm pretty sure it's pronounced Jongjungbu. I don't know if that's correct, but that's how it reads.
That sounds pretty good. This bundle is usually $11.49. It's on sale this month for $6.66.
Yeah.
A very spooky amount. You get the Conquest of Helios, the Wizard's Apprentice, and Castle Helios, the trilogy, for $6.66. So 25% off. Very cool deal for 3 quality games and very different types of games. So a lot of variety here. So check that out in the show notes and grab a great deal. You'll be hearing a little bit more about one of them later in the show.
Foreshadowing.
I want to introduce a new segment of the show, just real quick. Nick and I, on our old podcast, Gaming on 10, we used to love, well, I don't know if Nick did. I love to talk about new games of the week. And since we don't really do that anymore, we haven't done that. So we're going to bring that back. These are games that came out in roughly the last 2 weeks. I didn't do the last 6 weeks since I've been on the show. I just did the last 2 weeks. These are notable games that came to itch in the past 2 weeks. I'm going to call it Indie Inventory. Is that a title, work in progress title?
Sounds good.
As a listener, I like that.
Okay. Got 2 thumbs up. The first one is called Pulse. Race to clear each stage before the time runs out. There's 84 stages. It's a puzzle game with changing rules each stage. It is $2.50 on the Playdate. I just realized I'm gonna have to make links for all this crap in the show notes. Oh my gosh, I just made so much more work for myself.
Oh, you messed up.
Oh Lord. All right, the next one is one that a lot of people were looking forward to. It's Legend of Vitad, which is date backwards. It is a first-person dungeon crawler. Nick, this is right up your alley.
Absolutely. Downloaded, haven't played yet.
Oh Lord, Nick, you got to try this. The controls are pretty unique because you don't have a whole lot of controls on the actual Playdate.
Yeah.
So it's unique, but it works. Dylan, have you tried this one? I just want to.
Oh yeah, no, I'd checked it out since way before release, back just when it was in playtesting on the Discord, and I've been excited for it ever since.
Cool.
The graphics that they're able to pull off on this are nothing short of remarkable with the system. And while the controls definitely, there's not like a lot to work with, like a whole keyboard and mouse like you would get on an old school dungeon crawler, but they do work very well, and they you can definitely get killed by some slimes. Lots and lots of slimes in that game.
Yes.
Or you can kill them with an axe. Either way.
What's the equivalent of the Q key to quaff a potion?
I don't actually think I've picked up a potion. I've been in there. The last time I got in there, I got far enough to be killed by a minotaur.
All right.
But lots of dungeon food. Lots of floor food to pick up and hold in your inventory.
Nice.
It's mostly been weapons and enemies that I've found so far, but really it's an experience. You need to check it out. I love that people are pulling off 3D and pseudo 3D on this. It's just amazing. Way further than anything I expected when they first started talking about the little handheld.
It works really well. It's $6 right now. There are going to be 3 chapters. Chapter 1 is out now. When chapter 2 comes out, the game will go up to $9. When chapter 3 comes out, it'll go up to $12. They're going to be free updates. So get in now and get the whole thing for $6.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to move faster. A game called Blocks in a Box. I don't know. People seem to like this game. The title didn't do anything for me. It's Name Your Price. I'll just leave it at that. Check out the link in the show notes. Plop It. It's free. It's just straight up free. It is a Playdate version of Bop It. I love Bop It, so I made a lot of comments in the comments on itch. I'm like, hey, here's a bunch of ideas. So we'll see if the dev gets excited and adds more modes. It's pretty simple, and I feel like you could just play it forever. Like, it doesn't have that one hit kill that Bop It has, so maybe it needs that, but it's Bop It. So Tavern Tapper, also totally free, very good looking root beer tapper / tapper clone.
Nice.
Set in a medieval tavern. This thing works real well. I feel like an idiot because I was cranking to fill up the taps. I didn't realize you hold the crank down to fill and up to
what?
serve.
Okay. Okay, so I also love this game, but I was having some extreme trouble with the controls.
Yeah.
And now my mind is blown. Great.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I was like, well, I went to go comment like, dude, just like add button controls because I keep overfilling my cups. And then I realized, oh, you just pulled down to fill. So I need to play it again with the proper controls. But the graphics are fantastic. The music is really good. So for free, home run. You got to try this thing. Magical Counter. It is also Name Your Price. It's some sort of Magic the Gathering, I don't know, counter thing. I guess you count stuff in that. I don't know. I've never played Magic the Gathering, but the graphics look awesome, whatever it is.
Yeah, I believe it's for a mana counter while you're actively playing a game against somebody else, IRL. I don't play it either,
cool.
so I don't know.
Awesome. PD Drums by Low Tech Games. It's a drum kit for your Playdate. Also Name Your Price. I've played around with it a little bit. Very cool. I think he's building an entire band on his Playdate.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's a lot of fun. Very responsive. I'm not a drummer, but I didn't know how much fun I could have with the drum kit. That was really cool.
It's very, very neat. Ripper, Name Your Price. It is Fruit Ninja on your Playdate. Worth a look. Mad City. It's $5. I need to play it more. I'm guessing it's an homage to some other game. Like you're trying to navigate from basically one end of a map to the other, and there's like different seedy elements that come up, and crooked police, and you have to fill up your car and go to the garage and stuff. I don't know what it's an homage to, but it's interesting, and I just need to play it more.
It's almost like a little management game to where I thought it was gonna be like you physically driving through a city, but it's more like making decisions every screen, which was pretty cool. Good graphics.
It's sort of you're navigating a maze basically, but with a GTA skin on it, I guess. Generations for Playdate, $4.99. The latest game from Scenic Route Software. You're gonna hear more about this one in a bit, so stay tuned. Very cool puzzle game. Maze, free, totally free. Lots of free games, but we didn't see free games for like a couple months, and then all of a sudden a bunch of them. It's one of those little labyrinth games you would have in your pocket, or you get it at Chuck E. Cheese as a kid, where you roll the ball around to get it into the hole, and you try and dodge the other holes. It works pretty well. The ball catches a little bit when it touches the wall. That's really my only knock on it. Yeah. But the more you play, like you get into like these themed mazes that are pretty funny.
Yeah. I used to love these games. We've had just such a good run these last couple weeks. I'm glad you're doing this segment now because there's so much cool stuff out.
I feel bad for like not doing it sooner because there were a ton like right before we started doing this. A Simple Job. It's sort of like this Five Nights at Freddy's kind of thing. You have to like just grab keys and haul ass to the end of the level before this like monkey clangs its cymbals and wakes up I guess he's waking up like a security guard or something. I feel like you have to find the perfect route through each level, and it gets real hard real fast. I don't know. Maybe I'm just not good at it, but it's free. Check it out. It's the graphics are really cool. The sound is cool. I don't know. Maybe I'm too dumb for it, but it's really neat. Escapeon, some of the best music on the Playdate. Escapeon. It is a shooter. It's a vertical shooting game on the Playdate. It runs really smooth. It's got is parallax scrolling the right term, Nick?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, it's got a unique scrolling system like 3D World Runner. It's based off of an SG 1000 or arcade game called Exerion.
Okay.
If I read the description properly. So
I didn't notice that.
Pretty neat and very, very impressive work on the engine. I've downloaded but haven't played. So looking forward to playing that at some point.
It's pretty
Yeah.
neat.
Impressive is
It
the right word. It's awesome. I love that game.
it runs really well. I wish the enemies took like a couple less bullets to destroy, because they all get like right up to you before they blow up. It's not very satisfying in that aspect, but I feel like the foundation here is amazing. So
I when I first saw screens of this, I thought it was a Space Harrier like
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
instantly.
yeah.
And I love how good of a shoot 'em up it is, but now I just want a Space Harrier like.
Well, get to work. What do you
Yeah,
mean?
that's it.
um,
7 other games first.
yes, I hear you. Penrose. This is like a Game Boy Flash era horror. Yeah, horror game. It says it right there in the title.
You'll hear more about that soon.
You hear
Yep.
more about it soon. Very, very good music on this one too.
Mm.
That's my teaser. Name your own price on that one. And Shadow Gadget and Shining Gadget by Strangers.io. These games are amazing. They have a million features. It's sort of like a Pokemon Go mixed with Pokemon Red and Blue mixed with Ghostbusters. You walk around your house yelling at your Playdate to catch ghosts. It's really weird. And then you can hook it up to your computer and trade ghosts and do events and stuff. I am going to have a small PSA. Like, it's not 100% working yet. They're trying very hard to get it working. I spent a lot of time with one of the devs this weekend trying to get my copy working, and it's just a matter of working with Panic right now to get it working. So it sounds like the first like tiny little batch of Playdates has an issue with it, and I was one. I had a very early hardware. There's a hardware problem, it sounds like. So I had a very early version, and there's an issue there. But if you have a later one, I guess it works fine. So it's an amazing game. If you get Shadow or you get Shining, you get different ghosts. There are special ghosts in each version, so you can get both and then trade between the two or whatever. Anyway, you have to look at the link in the show notes for one of these two. You have to. I'm demanding, if you hear the sound of my voice, check out this thing. It just blows my mind. I had no idea. I was like, it wants me to yell at it now, and then I have to like walk around, and it's crazy.
So do you just walk around screaming objection?
Objection. That's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going around the house reading whatever I could as loud as I could.
Nice.
Okay.
I didn't actually realize there was a mic component to that. That's awesome. Strangers.io is just putting out some of the highest quality stuff on the Playdate. I'm happy to hear that they're working on the technical issues on that one, because I also had a crash.
I got into a bad loop there, but they're working hard on it, so hopefully it'll be a non-issue soon. Anyway, lots of good games. I mean, look at that.
Yeah,
and there's a bunch of other stuff I didn't even mention. I was just like, all right, these are the best of the best as far as I could tell from the past 2 weeks. That's not even man. Playdate's killing it lately. So the best of the best. Let's talk about some of the indie picks of the week. Nick, what do we got? We'll have you go first. What's your indie pick of the week?
My indie pick of the week is Penrose by Whyfie. That's a clever name, which I just realized.
I thought it was Whyfie.
Was clever. Yeah. It's a name your own price game. As Don mentioned in the indie inventory. It is a horror style game. Really, it's an adventure game in the style of pulp games. So you're a character wandering around an overworld that's divided by screens, basically. But each screen can have events that change the nature of the screen or subsequent screens. So it is a fairly unusual world to explore. It starts off fairly straightforward, like in a Pokemon or an Earthbound type game. You start off in your room, and then you have to make your way from there. And the mystery starts to unfold as you leave your room. And there's some interesting elements as you explore your town, and I find it very compelling. So the warning I will give to potential players of this game: there are several instances where you can immediately end your game and have to start over from
Mm.
the very beginning. So pay careful attention to your surroundings at all times.
Mhm.
I don't know how far either of you got in the game, but that can be a bit of a bummer.
Okay.
I'm guessing
But
you finished it.
I've received one ending, but there appear to be multiple. So
okay.
I didn't have a chance to go through it a second time yet.
Do the pulp games have a way to save your progress?
Oh yeah,
Okay. Oh yeah, I guess Art 7 does.
yeah.
Do you? Oh well.
It's something you have to make sure that you're putting into it. So it would be intentional on the developer's part.
Okay.
So they would have either done it, or like if it's not saving, it's because of a design decision.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
Nick, do you know how long your playthrough was? The one that you finished?
not particularly long, but I had, spent a few runs figuring out what I was doing. So,
Yeah.
um, uh, maybe 20 minutes, something like
Oh,
that.
Okay.
You do spend a significant amount of time traversing the world, though. It's larger than it seems.
oh, okay.
I feel like I
Yeah.
got stuck about 20 minutes in, and I wasn't sure what I was missing. But it seems like the kind of game where maybe you can walk past something over and over and miss it.
Uh, Definitely possible.
Okay.
So, if you get real stuck and want a hint, buddy, just shoot me a message.
All right. I'll
Nice.
call up the tip line.
Yeah.
This is I followed this developer on Twitter, and just seeing the artwork that they were putting out for this, it was just so evocative of a horror game, and really
Mm-hmm.
like what is going on in this world. That has been one of my most anticipated releases. I've put a little time into it, but it's definitely something I've been dying to get back into. Good note that I could die at any point in it and have to reset, so I'll be careful.
Yep. When it happens to you the first time,
Mhm.
you'll be like, darn. But but I will say you won't make that mistake again.
Okay.
So it is good. But if I can help someone avoid that's also good, because I lost a significant amount of progress the first time that happened to me.
Oh, I
Ouch.
I died early, and so I didn't feel like I lost much.
Yeah.
Um, what was I going to ask you? Oh, was it World of Horror? Was that
Yeah,
Oh,
the PC
that's
game? Is this kind of similar? Like the art looked
mm,
similar. I never played that one though.
some pieces might be similar. The World of Horror is kind of an homage to Junjo Ito. Is that
Junji
the
Ito?
Junji Ito? Yeah, the horror manga artist.
Oh,
So different style.
Mhm.
oh, I see. Okay.
It's funny because I have not played through World of Horror, but I could see at least in the one bitness of the two different art styles, they're definitely evocative of each other, right?
Hmm.
Like you,
Yeah.
yeah,
Scratch my eyeball. That yeah. Um, this one I don't know why it's like buried on itch. Like I usually just sort by most recent, and it
I
doesn't show up on most recent. And so somebody just happened to mention it on Twitter, and I was like, oh yeah, crap, I forgot that was out. I was out of town when it came out, and so I was able to look it up. But
well,
uh,
behind the scenes, right before we started recording, I was scrambling to find the link to it. I didn't realize you had the link right in the show notes right above it. Should have looked more closely.
mm.
But anyway, yeah, you're right. It's buried on itch for some reason. Um, I
We've talked in the past warning devs, I guess, not to do this. Well, it just sucks that itch buries them. If you
yeah,
put up
it's
that teaser
something
page
in
or
their
whatever.
search engine or something. I'm not sure what's up. Oh, is it when they put up a teaser before
Yeah,
release?
it just leaves it there.
Oh, yeah.
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 Okay,
That
that makes
actually
sense.
happened. That happened to me. I posted a demo for Art 7 way back in like April or May or
Mhm.
something like that. And then I never hit new release on Twitch or on itch, sorry, because it had technically been out, at least in demo form, for months. So yeah, it's something to be aware of. Maybe I did something wrong. I'm not sure, but
Is Is a
But
way to handle that to delete the previous demo and then start
I don't know because
fresh?
I think it's by project. So I don't know that there was
Okay.
anything for it. Luckily, you guys and there was a lot of other press that helped out, and eventually the community bundle that really took things to another place. So it wasn't like insurmountable, but it's definitely something to be aware of as a developer.
Yeah.
Once you get on the popular
Yeah.
tab, that's a whole other thing.
Oh yeah.
But for people like us that have been
Mm.
there for a while, I never look at the popular tab.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't either. I didn't know there was one.
I think
So,
mine defaults to popular if I just search the Playdate tag.
Yeah.
hmm.
Anyway, well, cool. That's a good picnic.
Mhm.
That's a good picnic for
Thank you.
October. Yeah,
Yeah.
spooky game.
Um, so uh, let's move to our guest, Dylan.
Yeah.
What's your pick?
So I wanted to highlight one of my favorite games on the Playdate that I was. So y'all already did Island, which is again Ron Lentz stuff is great. It was going to be that one, but y'all have already talked about it, and I really want to talk about Castle Helios, which is in the bundle we mentioned earlier.
Mhm.
Castle Helios is part of a trilogy by Jongjungbu. I assume that's how you pronounce that. He put out two other games that were strategy and kind of a version of Drug Wars, if y'all remember that from the old TI
Mm-hmm.
calculators. And neither of those, I have them both. I like them. I think they're really cool, but neither of them really hit with me anywhere near as well as Castle Helios did, which is much more of a um, not side scrolling, it's screen based, but much more of like a Castlevania style game for the Playdate adventure action. And the prevailing thing that the entire time I was going through Castle Helios was like, this is incredibly well designed. From the way that they use the side scrolling perspective and the way that they spaced everything out and just designed the levels and designed the actual gameplay of it was fantastic and incredibly impressive to me. So going through that entire thing, just I could not uh, kind of contain my excitement over how well it was made. Um, that was my biggest impression of it. Castle Helios is fantastic.
So what is it? What's the gameplay like?
Mhm. So it is an action game. It is not so much like a side scroller because there's no scrolling in it, right? But it's a screen based action game in the vein of a Castlevania. You're actually going through a castle. You have woken up after you're a very powerful wizard that has just defeated the Demon King, but you've lost all your magic powers in the process.
Mhm.
So the game starts there, and you're trying to exit the castle. And along the ways, you get your magic spells back. The controls for which, like switching between them, are actually really well done as well. Um, and it's just you escaping the castle, but doing various puzzles and like the classic moving arms on a statue or bringing orbs to from one place to another that you find scattered
Mm.
around an environment. Yeah. And there are definitely characters and little people that give you hints and quests. It's not like an extensive game that's going to take you hours and hours and hours and hours. It's not like a 40-hour game, but it's a very, very well designed, well contained action experience on the Playdate. And it's just something I hadn't seen up until that point and really haven't seen anything since. Um,
S- The way you describe it, it sounds sort of like a mixture between like Zelda 2 and Castlevania 2, the
yeah.
adventure elements of each, um,
Mhm.
with the side-scrolling action. That's really neat.
Yeah.
How is the music?
Music's good. Like everything felt very cohesive.
Hmm.
I don't have a super head for the music itself, but it felt really, really solid all the way through. Um, is the gameplay, the animations, they do a thing with the character in Pulp through animation or through some different techniques to where it's actually a smooth movement. So it's not like moving a tile at a time,
Hmm.
which you'll see with a lot of Pulp games.
Hmm.
So just very well animated. And I guess one of the things that I really liked about it, this is the very first God of War that came out on the PlayStation 2 also gave me the same feeling in that the way that they translated the controls itself to the actions and powers that you were given in the game felt very good. It felt not like one to one, right? Because we're still dealing with buttons and D-pad so far as actually controlling the game, but navigating through the different magics that you'll get to do the puzzles and to traverse the environments with felt very natural. And that's one of the things I say when it was very well designed. I mean, those kind of elements that make the game just feel like a very smooth, very good experience to play.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Well,
looking at the animation, it does look really smooth, and
Yeah.
I don't see any like melee attacks, but I see him shooting fireballs and whatnot
Yeah.
to kill
Yeah.
enemies.
There's like fireballs, ice blocks that you drop to actually stand on to reach higher heights. A feather that you use to get a higher um, way of traversing environments. It's very much that kind of thing where you have to use different powers together in order to get through the actual puzzles in the environment. And there are actually some boss battles in it, which I was surprised about.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. I believe the whole thing was made in pulp, which again is very much a tile-based environment to do it. So they were pulling off some stuff in pulp that I hadn't seen before, um, like being able to pull off an action game in that kind of editor was just
mhm.
really cool.
Hmm.
Mhm.
I
Have
I
any of y'all had a
downloaded
chance
this.
to try it?
Yeah, I downloaded it, I think the night it
Mhm.
came out, and I hit a bug pretty early on. I know it
Mm,
got patched, but I just hadn't gotten back to it after the bug. It
yeah,
was one of those things where I put it down, was kind of waiting for the patch.
yeah.
But yeah, I need to get back to this. Just looking at the
Mhm.
screenshots and stuff, I'm like, oh yeah, this looks pretty fun. This looks like a Nick
Yeah,
game.
yeah.
Yeah, downloaded, haven't played.
Nick. Well, hopefully Nick will have more free time. Nick had a big weekend. So.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's among my top recommendations for the Playdate.
Oh, very
Excellent.
cool.
Yeah.
And this one is it's normally $6.99. It's on sale right now, $5.24 or $6.66 for the whole Halloween bundle. Helioween bundle.
Helioween.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good one. Thank you.
Absolutely.
So Don, tell us, what's your indie game of the week?
Mine's not very spooky or haunted. It's mine is Generations, the latest game from Scenic Route Software. They did Shift, which is a game I talk about all the time on the podcast. So
Yes.
this one, the idea is you're just staring at a couch, and there are family portraits behind the couch, and you arrange the portraits in such a way that three portraits of an infant will cause it to turn into a toddler, and then the toddler becomes a elementary school child, then a teenager, and an adult. Anyway, basically, it's a sort of like a tile shifting match three, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, which it initially started out. I'm trying to remember the name of the game. I don't know if it says it on here. It started out as a mobile game where you just match different colors,
Hmm.
but changing it to portraits is a lot more interesting to me. I don't think I downloaded the color game. I didn't try it yet. I don't think it would be as interesting to me. Just seeing the different families come together and trying to get like, all right, I gotta get these turn into an old man, and if you match three of the elderly people,
Mhm.
that's a generation. And every picture on the wall levels up. They all go up a generation, and so
Yeah.
you get points based on that. And so a baby is like 5 or 10 points, whereas a grandparent is like 30 or 50 points. Um,
Mhm.
and then you're chasing a high score. You can use the crank to use basically the placeholders, kind of like in Tetris, how you can hold an extra piece off to the side and swap it
Mhm.
in when you need it. There's a end tables next to the couch, so you can use the crank to switch over to the end table on the right and swap
Mhm.
that piece in. If you get a combo, I think it's a combo of three in a row,
Mhm.
um, then you earn like a special move, which I don't see very often. I'm not that good, but it'll be like a heart with a plus on it
Mhm.
that'll let you level up one of the portraits a generation
Yeah.
or remove a portrait. Because if
Mhm.
the whole wall is full, it's game over.
Hmm.
And so that means if you're not getting three toddlers near each other, they won't condense into a elementary school child. So the wall's going to get fuller and fuller. So you constantly have to be kind of managing your space and sliding the tiles together, or yeah, you're going to run out of room. So it
Yeah.
works really well. my only critique is that it's so detailed. If you don't have really good lighting, it's some of the portraits are hard to tell apart. But I left a comment on Twitter and I was like, "Hey man, can you like make a little more differentiation between I think the mom and the grandmother or something look kind of
Yeah.
similar because they both have like the same part in their hair, and like the grandma has a slightly different background and her mouth is open and she has a bun in her hair. Like there are conscious decisions to like make them
Mhm.
different, but like even with a little bit of low light it was hard for me to tell because the
Yeah.
biggest difference was the part in the hair. And so Scenic Route Software replied and they're like, yeah, what do you think about these? And they showed me all these different pictures of changes that they are going to make things more accessible. And they even talked about changing the portraits altogether to numbers if someone wanted to just use numbers to make them more
Huh.
accessible,
That's a great
which I thought
idea.
was really
That's a good.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it would play more kind of like 2048 or threes or something
Yeah.
if you change it to numbers.
This is like a strategy version of either one of those games. I was going to bring that up specifically. I'm not good at this game, but it's absolutely one of my favorites, and I love Shift. I'm also a fellow Shift lover. Before Generations, that was probably my most played game on the Playdate. But the first thing that helped me out was realizing that the backgrounds for the each generation were
Mm-hmm.
similar, and I think one of the coolest parts about this whole Playdate ecosystem is that people are just making these games. I'm just a dude. I'm not a game developer in general. Right. I do a lot of other stuff, but this has allowed me to fulfill my dream of making games. And so many other people from professional studios like Strangest IO that's doing Waste Braver and just came out with the Shadow Gadget, Shining Gadget, and Necrocrisis. So many people from the entire spectrum are finally able to make games on this incredibly accessible little console, and they're also incredibly responsive to their fans. You were able to reach out to them just on Twitter and be like, "Okay, well, I'm doing these changes, and they're going to improve the
Mm-hmm.
game." And that feedback loop, is just fantastic. Like,
Hmm.
I've never seen another console developer situation like this. It's awesome.
Yeah, that's so cool. It couldn't be like Sony Santa Monica or something. Like, hey, can you give Kratos like a different color beard? I don't like the way. Yeah.
Not without a
Um,
100,000 person poll or something.
right. There's a way to pet the cat too, and I was
Oh,
trying to
what?
find it on here. Yeah, it's like you hold down or B or something, and then turn the crank, and you can pet the cat. But I don't
You
remember
know.
how.
So on that note of the updates, part of Shift, one of their previous game was I didn't like how the crank worked until they updated
Mhm.
it with some better
Same.
controls on it, and it wasn't as touchy, and that unlocked the whole game for me.
Yeah, me
Now
too.
with Generations, they've got petting a cat, and I saw a backyard
Yeah,
something
I
going
don't know how to
on.
get to the
I
backyard.
I don't have any idea what's going on with it, but I am super excited, and that kind of update loop that developers can do is also
Yeah,
I just love all of it.
yep.
Is there a Art 7 cameo in Generations here?
Well, on the seventh generation, you got it. No, I'm just kidding. No, I wish. One thing. Okay, so on that note, I mentioned I was going to put out a call for community developers to, do some cool Halloween art. Yeah, and one of the big things about Art 7 was bringing Playdate developers into this game to promote their works. So any developer that's out there that wants to put a piece in the gallery, get at me.
I think the cat is their logo. I think.
Oh, huh.
Like if you look at the cat laying on the couch in the Generations logo, I think that's the Scenic Route logo. So that would be kind of
Cool.
cool to see. Easter egg, I don't know, logo. I don't know how artsy that is. Like I appreciate logos and fonts and stuff. Ryan and I have talked about that in the past, but I know that's not art.
Art is I define art very, 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 very broadly.
Okay.
So there's so much that you can do in the design space that I would happily include in a gallery.
Okay. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So,
Right on.
what's the best way to get in touch with you, as
Um,
far as Art 7?
yeah. So anybody that's on the Playdate Squad Discord can reach out to me. I'm under Ledbetter, LEDBETTER. You can also reach me on Twitter at LDBR_art. So Ledbetter Art. Or you can go to ledbetterldbr.art, which is the website, and you can be reached there through email and all the traditional things. Twitter and Discord are probably the easiest ways.
Excellent.
You're gonna have
And do you have a timeline for your update that's coming out soon?
Yeah, so I'm really trying hard to hit the 24th, which I believe is a Monday in about
Wow,
2 weeks, which
that's an
scares me.
aggressive deadline.
It is, but it's a Halloween update, and I really want to be out for Halloween. Um, the One of the other things that I've always wanted to do with Art 7 was to actually show it publicly, and there's a I'm going to be submitting to do just that on the 27th of this month, so I should probably have it ready by then. So yeah, we'll see. Definitely have bigger plans for the game going forward. Showing it off publicly, showing people what the Playdate is, because a lot of these are still hard to get.
Mhm.
So I'd like other people to see the cool little thing that we're all in love with.
Very cool.
Yeah,
Well,
that's awesome.
Dylan Ledbetter, thank you
Yeah.
so much for joining us. You really made a great addition to the show, and we love the work with Art 7 so much, and we're looking forward to playing the update here in 2 weeks. No
Yeah.
delays. You have 2 weeks. You have to release it
Oh,
on the
all
24th.
right.
Set in
I'm gonna.
stone.
That's the rest of my
No,
night.
no. Yeah, we really appreciate the work you did there. And yeah, we mentioned so many games tonight. I'm gonna be doing links all night. But check out the show notes. Check out Ledbetter stuff. Nick, you have anything you want to plug?
Uh, Pinball, everybody. Pinball's the thing.
Yeah.
So check it out. I'll be having some cool new announcements soon, but not quite yet.
Ask a friend if you're going to be moving a pinball machine. That's Nick's PSA of the week.
That is a PSA.
But listeners, thank you so much for listening, and we will be back in 2 weeks.